Our last recorded stop was New Oxford, Pennsylvania. This was one of 5 places that was served by United Telephone in Pennsylvania. It's in the long-distance sector of Hanover's NX1E switch. We didn't go through Hanover. Had I realized there was an NX1E there, I certainly would have. But our next intentional stop was York, Pennsylvania, in the center of a general telephone area. From calling into the area from the outside, it sounds pretty interesting for general telephone. The ringtones have a greater variety than you usually see in a GTE zone, and so we thought it was really going to be interesting, and it was planned to be a place we passed through. Unfortunately, as we went through this area, we did not find a single payphone that could be recorded on using our pickup coil. In order to record anything at all, we would have had to stick a microphone up to the earpiece and make a fairly low-quality recording. So as it was, we simply played with the phones just a little bit and didn't record at all because I wanted to spend time on places where we could make high-quality recordings instead of holding a microphone up to the phone. I don't remember much about this area, except that it was entirely step-by-step, and I know we passed through York and also a community called Red Lion, Pennsylvania, which was famous for its international shortwave station, WINB. I know we drove right past the station. There was a house, a big antenna field, and a sign indicating that we really were passing WINB. But other than that, I don't remember much about this general telephone zone that we went through. We weren't able to record again until we crossed the Susquehanna River into a territory covered by a different independent called the Commonwealth Telephone Company. The first recordable phone we found was in Rawlinsville. It was a post-pay 3-slot phone, that is, the kind of phone that has the mechanical gongs for the coin sounds. The transducer that is there to pick up the sound of the coins also picks up the sound of relays that click in the phone whenever there's a momentary interruption in the DC current on the line, which happens every time you get a dial tone. So the transducer picks up that relay clang. Every time you dial a digit, there's a relay clang when the dial returns to rest. And sometimes you even get little dings of the bell for incoming calls. So the transducer picks all of that up. We did have an actual phone booth, and at the beginning of the tape there's an amazing sound that I think is a combination of the phone booth door closing and then maybe one of the relays in the phone, but the transducer in the phone picks up this amazing sound. Dave's going to dial 0 for operator. Commonwealth Telephone doesn't provide their own operators. Instead, they use whatever Bell system cord board is nearest, in this case, Lancaster. And we are in the Lancaster crossbar tandem long-distance sector. Here's 0.
Operator?
I'm sorry, I seem to have gotten you by accident.
Okay.
The ringtone you heard there is provided by this office, Rawlinsville. However, when we dial an actual Rawlinsville ringing number, we're going to hear a different ringtone. Here, Dave tries dialing 1 plus 212 directory assistance. Back in the Chambersburg area, that actually went through. Let's try it here. That was the identifier starting to trigger. It got as far as about 3/4 of the first tone, a key pulse, and then it just cut off and we were left on silence. This is how they are toll-restricting coin phones. You can dial 1 and get into Bell of Pennsylvania's long-distance tandem. It's just that when it goes off hook asking for the number that's making the call, that's when the identifier is stopped in the middle of that first tone. However, since the vacant code recording doesn't go off hook, we can dial 1 plus a vacant code and hear the recording from the particular long-distance tandem serving this area. Here's 1 plus 001.
We're sorry, but we have a problem in completing your call as dialed. Please check the number and dial again or ask your operator to help you. This is a recording, 7177. We're sorry, but we have a problem in completing your call as dialed. Please check the number and dial again or ask your operator to help you.
Dave flashed, and it went silent. I'm not sure where we were at that particular point in time. On the trunk reset, or maybe on some sort of lockout relay. I can't tell from what's on the tape. Now, if you dial 1, you go into this crossbar tandem, which is Lancaster 7177. And it's got a special device that is intercepting a digit 1. So if you dial 1 and then 1, you get this. That was coming from the Lancaster XBT. The dial tone reorder, instead of a more typical low tone reorder, was probably just a matter of convenience. That is meant to be a reorder. They just used, let's just say, an unconventional choice of tone for that. Dave and I tried dialing 1 plus a long distance number many times here, and it never worked, except once. Here is that exceptional time.
Your number, please.
284-4980.
Thank you. Directing the sailor.
Well, that time it worked. When Lancaster went off hook asking for the number, the identifier tried to send it. It sent key pulse, then 0, the normal prefix digit, plus our office code 284, and then there was just a gap where the last 4 digits are supposed to be, and then start.
Your number, please.
The identifier fails because our particular phone line isn't wired to send a number. But that's okay because the operator comes on and asks for a number. So let's try this again. Yeah, I was afraid that would happen. This is what it's supposed to do every time. And it never let us get a call through again. However, 2 stops from now we'll go to Gap, Pennsylvania. It's the same type of step as this, and its identifier is a little more fun to play with. Okay, now we'll dial our own number to get the busy signal. Dave, seemingly still learning about step, is going to dial 2840. 284 is our local office code, and all 3 digits are absorbed, so you know what we're going to get. That again is one of the local ring supplies that we hear when we start to call the operator. And Dave hung up pretty quickly because he realized what was going on. But the ring supply sounds quite different when we dial an actual working number in Rawlinsville. We're going to get a subscriber answer. I'm going to hang up after the subscriber answers, but before she says hello. So you're going to hear the hello coming through the phone while the phone is hung up. But dig this ring. The only place I've heard anything like that I recall is New Hope, Virginia, which we called over to from one of the Harrisonburg tributaries. Here's what it sounded like over the N1 type carrier they were using. Not only does it sound similar, but the ring cycle is very long. Almost 8 seconds in both cases. This one is a little shorter than Rawlinsville. Now here's a non-working number in Rawlinsville. It's that same ring, although it's very short because it's tripped almost immediately. You'll then hear that replaced by that pseudo-modern ring that we heard on the Lancaster recording. Well, that's a unique way to ask what number are you calling. You say, all the and press the release key. Anyway, in Lancaster, we have a number of office codes. 291, 299, 392, 393, 394, 397, and then there's 464 and 569. Notice how many codes have a 9 as the second digit. That's not an accident. It's been arranged so that from many of the tributaries, including this one, the second digit 9 goes to an office in downtown Lancaster. Used to be a step, now it's an ESS. As we listen to this call, bear in mind that this is the ring that electromechanical entities in the Lancaster building use, such as the crossbar tandem and the centralized intercept, while this, that's the ring used by the number 1 ESS in Lancaster. Dave is going to try to call a number in the 284-9000 group, but there is no 284-9000 group, and the reason is that on the 9 level are the trunks to the main entity in Lancaster. And so our phone number here is not 284-9980, it's 284-4980. When Dave dials 2849, he doesn't know it, but he's going to end up in Lancaster. Two 284-9111 is a 7-digit number, but thanks to digit absorbing, Dave has really only dialed 29111. We're in Lancaster waiting for 2 more digits.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number or try your call again.
That reset the trunk. Now Lancaster is waiting for 5 digits. Five digits, not 4.
We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
We didn't try dialing all of those Lancaster second digit 9 codes. There are 6 of them. That is a lot of office codes to have in a single ESS office in 1976. This next call indicates that the ESS trunks are set up for tandem operation. That is, some of those codes could be served out of a different entity. Perhaps there's a crossbar 5. And if you dial one of those, the ESS puts you through. On the next call, we end up getting into the Lancaster ESS, same one as before, but we dial a vacant code. After a pause, and the pause indicates it's a tandem trunk. The vacant code recording comes on.
We're sorry, but we have a problem completing your call as dialed. Please check the number and dial again, or ask your operator to help you. This is a recording. We're
Two attempts to hang up, and neither one was long enough to disconnect from the trunk. All it did was reset. Some of these Lancaster trunks you have to hang up on a really long time. Next is a call to a working number in Lancaster's 299, which is served by the same ESS. It's dialed normally this time. Dave is going to let the subscriber answer. When she does, the polarity reversal turns off our mouthpiece and reduces the volume of the earpiece a bit. When the 9 that goes into Lancaster is dialed, it is followed by a burst of static. That happens a lot here.
Hello? Yeah.
394 is a code that's in the Lancaster exchange. Here, Dave dials 39400. The 3 absorbs, the 9 goes into the same main Lancaster trunk, and then when he dials 400, the main ESS gives him a reorder tone. There is a trunk or trunks to the Lancaster ESS that gives you a burst of static right when you cut into it on the 9. On this next example, that burst of static actually flashes answer supervision. You can hear the relays in the phone clanging in response. Here's a 39. Yikes! You think this is going to work? I bet it will.
We're sorry, you have reached the number that has been disconnected or is no...
Hensel 548 is another Commonwealth telephone small step. The 5 goes to a second selector, the 4 cuts through to the Hensel trunk, and the 8 is absorbed there. The trunks usually are very hummy, and on this call we dial a vacant level, which ends up going to Lancaster intercept. It's kind of confusing, though, because there are 3 distinct ringtones that are heard here. Apparently, this call is going through the Lancaster ESS. They're using it as a secondary concentrator for intercept. Once we reset the trunk and dial a vacant level again, you actually hear all 3 rings. First, the Lancaster ESS ring, which is coming on with a distinctive ESS tick. Okay, that's the ESS. Now Hensel. And that 3rd ring is the Lancaster electromechanical ring for the intercept concentrator itself. So here's a Hensel 548 vacant level. It starts to go through and the rings do a certain thing. Then Dave resets the trunk and dials a vacant level again, and the rings do something slightly different.
What number did you call, please?
What number did you call? What number are you calling?
Okay, so that's a vacant level. Let's try to get a working number in Hensel. Nice hum and dial pulse crosstalk, but that's all. There's a lot of this in this area, a lot of calls being left high and dry. Here's another attempt to get a working number in Hensel, 548.
What number did you dial, please?
We're getting closer. That was a non-working number in a working 100 group. So let's try one more time. The next call is to Quarryville, 786, which happens to be our next stop, by the way. It's owned by this same phone company, but it's not a step. It's a Stromberg-Carlson ESC. The connection to Quarryville comes on with the 7, and even though Quarryville does have recordings, for some reason this time we get a reorder. .569 and .464 are considered part of Lancaster, but they're clearly not in the downtown wire center. Each is a Bell 355 step. I only know about .569 because I've looked ahead to the next stop where we actually get the thing to ring. From here, our 2 attempts to .569 left us high and dry. Here's one of them. 5 goes to a second selector, 6 goes to the .569 trunk, and the 9 presumably is absorbed there if the thing were only working. One good thing I can say is that 100% of the trunks here are plain wire trunks, and that's always nice to see. However, only 90-some% of those trunks actually work. The other small step in the Lancaster exchange is 464, and we were able to get vacant level intercept, which features the ringtone. 4 is absorbed. 6 sounds to me like it's going to some other office, where the 4 cuts into the 464 trunk, and those trunks have a distinctive hum. Here's the office on 6. We'll come back to this when we flash at the end. And here's 464.
sorry, you have reached the number that has been
See, we're back to the office on 6. This hum. Not 464, which is this. Dang, he hung up such a long time on a 464 call, and here we are still on the office on 6. By the way, we really can't tell from the tape what office is on 6. It actually could be a leftover piece of the original Lancaster step in the downtown building. Or it might be one of the other Bell tributaries, like maybe it's 569 appearing in a different place in the switching train. We can't tell from the tape. Next, Dave happens into the office on 8 by dialing 284, which goes nowhere, and then 8. You can tell, as soon as he dials the 8, that we've gone into another office. He then dials another digit, and we get a vacant level, and by the ring, of course, you can tell that it is a Bell System 355 step, another one that we haven't hit yet. What is the office on 8? Turns out it is Strasburg, 687. The 6 absorbs, the 8 goes into the same place we just were. Here's another call to vacant level intercept there, this time by dialing 687 and a vacant 1000 group. After we dial the 6, there's crosstalk from a phone in the neighborhood ringing.
You have reached the number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number or try your call again. What number did you dial, please?
From the tape, we have a partial view of the switching train. 1 goes to the Lancaster XPT 7177. 0 goes to the cordboard in Lancaster. 2 and 3, we only dialed as absorbed digits. We never cut in to see what's on those levels. There could be 284 numbers there. There could also be other end offices. I don't know that we called everything local. There's definitely a second selector on 4. That is used to reach our number, 284-4980. There's a second selector on 5, which we saw when we called 569. 5 went to the second selector. 6 went to the 569 trunk, which didn't work. On 6, there's a mystery office that we use to get to 464. 7 is Quarryville, 786, which we will visit next. 8 is Strasburg, 687, and 9 is where the trunks to the Lancaster ESS, where all the 29 and 39 numbers go, and still we never got to see if certain of those 39s go somewhere else. It is very strange that 39400 goes to a reorder. Well, that's all we recorded from this place, Rawlinsville, except for some repeat material that I didn't include. Before we go, let's try dialing 1 plus a long distance number. Well, let's try it about 5 more times, and I'll let you hear the last time.
Worked only by quirk.
It worked only by quirk, that's true, but this is not the last time that we will hear that. Actually, if you're following the publishing date of these recordings, it is the last time we'll hear that because I did them in reverse order, but The next stop is the Quarryville ESC, same phone company. And then beyond that, we have another step like this one, although its ring is a little more normal, called Gap. And let's just say Gap is a good name for that town. Then in the March 1977 trip, there's Pinetown. All of that's ahead.